Hello students, I, Ms. Pooja Kalange, Assistant Professor IICMR MCA, welcome you to this video lecture for the subject Big Data Analytics. So let's begin. In the previous lecture, we have seen what is basically a scale-up and scale-out architecture. As I already told you that we have covered the concepts of IDBMS and non-relational RDBMS in the refresher course. So now we will be studying about what is mean by a database workload. If you talk database workload in generic terms, it is nothing but the amount of work performed by a machine so that it can produce some output within a specific time period. Okay, so this could be either said as the average amount of work which is handled by an entity at a particular instance, so that for a given amount of time we can understand how his performance has been here. Okay, so what will help us this indirectly? This entity will help us to identify the efficiency and the performance of the system. So it is normally in computer science or in computer system, this thing is to be referred as the database workload, which will help that how healthy the processing of the, you can say, of the machine is being going on. Okay, so how could this database workload be? It could be a workload maybe of some SQL statements which are being submitted for a particular instance. So how much time did it require from the query it was being submitted and the output which was being delivered? Okay, so why this is needed? It is being used as a matrix. It is used as a matrix for its servers. It is used as a matrix for, you can see, the databases for calculating the expected workload. What is the expected workload? So this finally will help us to analyze the performance compared with the workload, so that over a period of time we can see which machines or which servers are working efficiently and which are not. Okay, so this you can say that a database workload. Now there are many types of workload. Before I move on to database workload, I will just tell you there are some types of workload. The first is a memory workload, which is each program has some instructions needed. Okay, whether either they're stored in the temporary memory or the permanent memory. So this type of workload is used said to be the memory workload. We have already studied the concept of paging and segmentation. I'll not go more into this because this is not part of our syllabus right now. Then is the CPU workload. So this is the CPU workload is said to be as the number of instructions being executed by the processor during given period of time or at a particular instance of time. So this will show how was your processing power of the CPU when certain workload was being given to it. Okay. Then the third type of workload, it comes to be the IO workload. So this is basically dealing with the time, considerable time spent in the input output operations. So that is said to be the input output workload. And now comes is the database workload. Okay, so this database workload will help us in analysis of the memory use, like how much memory use was there, and what will be our throughput. Our throughput will be the workload, maximum workload, whatever the maximum load was given, and the input output throughput. So this will help us that how much memory was being used through throughput. You know what is the meaning of throughput? The time from which the query was being submitted and the response was being received. So as I told you, database will be a combination of memory use, means will require memory, you can say memory workload as well. You will require the CPU workload as well. You will require the IO workload as well, and then you will be calculating the database workload. Okay, so if you see the technical, each of these components have some small approximations or some small contributions present in the database performance, you can say. But however, the normal true analysis of a database workload at any number of time or at any specific instance of time is normally being calculated by the number of queries which are being executed at a particular instance of time. So the number of these queries is nothing but the average, at what average, you can say how many average queries were being executed at a particular period of time. So this plays a very important role whenever you are analyzing, you can see the database workload, because that will help you to tell whether the server is working properly, whether the required throughput is being given or not. So this was just a brief introduction about the database workload. So let's move on to our next point. Okay, and next is the implications of big data. Okay, now as you all know that big data has been capturing the, the greater part of the organization. That's why the data analysis has become a very important part in the organization. So large scale of data will require large scale data analytics, right? So therefore, we will require big data repositories for this analysis. In order to do this analysis, we will require some specialized algorithms. We may require some specialized systems, maybe some processes, and some processes which will review. They will review the data, whether the data is present in the correct format or not. We'll have to do the escalations. We will have to check for the cleansing of the data. Then we'll have to analyze the data, whether the data is being given in a correct legacy format or not, and then you have to present the data in the form of knowledge or in the form of information that is more meaningful and more useful to the organizations, or you can say to the application level users or the presentation level users. Okay, so that will be the implications of big data when you consider a database workload. Okay, so in broad terms you can say that this big data will actually, when you're studying this subject, you're going to study what are the different tools and techniques and the systems which are used to process this big data. Okay, now this big data analytics, how does this work? It is basically done by the two popular techniques, that is the parallel database management system, which you're already aware with the DBMS part, and the MapReduce Power system, which is an important concept of Hadoop system. The part with the MapReduce will be covering in the forthcoming chapters. Okay, so I hope you are clear with what is a database workload, what are types of database workload, and how this in the workload it plays a greater implications in the big data. So I hope you are clear with this concept. If any queries, do let me know. And I thank you for watching this video. Thank you.